Pakistan now, where officials say militants have killed dozens of security personnel across days of attacks in the southwestern province of Balochistan. The region has endured a long-running insurgency fought by separatist groups, and Pakistan has blamed its neighbors for supporting the militants.
These are the family members of dozens of Pakistani police officers killed in militant attacks this week. They're conducting a sit-in protest in Pakistan's southwestern province of Balochistan. People here are frustrated by a growing number of deadly militant attacks and the state's limited ability to stop them.
Our Ziyarat police officers were left behind without proper ammunition and equipment, at the mercy of terrorists. So the terrorists killed them brutally.
He is my brother Muhammad Asim, and the other is my cousin Mustafa Khan. They were police officers and were martyred by terrorists. It's not just these two bodies, there are 40 more like this. Some are buried and some are here.
Pakistan's military says that 42 police and army personnel have been killed in 3 militant attacks since July 6th in the province of Balochistan. The military spokesperson said 54 militants were killed in these incidents. Pakistan accuses eastern and western neighbors of backing the militants attacking the Pakistani state.
The question here is, who is doing it?
India is doing this, and all those forces, along with India, who are the enemy of the honor of Pakistan, and those who do not accept the prosperity and stability of Pakistan. And they are using the territory under the control of this illegitimate Afghan Taliban regime.
Both India and the Afghan Taliban government have repeatedly denied such accusations. Balochistan, Pakistan's largest and least populous province, has endured a long-running insurgency fought by separatist groups as well as attacks by the Pakistani Taliban. The Balochistan Liberation Army, which the United States designated a foreign terrorist organization in 2019, has been behind numerous attacks in recent years. It has targeted security forces and civilians across the province.
Let's take a closer look at the situation and bring in Michael Kugelman. He's a senior fellow for South Asia at the Atlantic Council in Washington, D.C. Michael, welcome back to DW. Now, why does Pakistan seem unable to get a grip on these militant groups?
Well, I mean, this is a question that we've asked for so long, given that Balochistan in particular keeps getting hit by these militant groups. And I would argue that it's because Pakistan's state has not come up with a solution to address this problem. What it has done is crack down hard, kinetically, with very robust counterterrorism offensives that end up killing a lot of militants, killing a lot of terrorists, but they also end up terrorizing local communities, including local peoples. And this, unfortunately, has led to more radicalization, and it has ultimately strengthened the very militants and terrorists that the Pakistani state is trying to eliminate.
The Pakistani government accuses India and Afghanistan of backing the militants. We heard it there briefly in the report. Both deny the accusations, of course. What can you tell us about outside interference?
Well, I mean, when it comes to this type of thing, there's rarely a smoking gun. There's rarely clear evidence that a particular militant group is receiving backing from an external source. But I think that what's very striking here is that the main Baloch militant group, the Balochistan Liberation Army, the BLA, has been able to generate the capacity very quickly to expand the scope of its attacks beyond Balochistan, and it's also been able to expand the scale of its attacks. This is a group that, not long ago would stage attacks on infrastructure, on railroad tracks, on electricity grids, and that type of thing. But now this group has been able to develop the capacity to hijack entire passenger trains, which is something the BLA did last year. And this is what's given rise to some of these allegations from Pakistan about external support. But the allegations against India and Afghanistan are very different. In the case of India, the allegation is that India itself is sponsoring these groups. When it comes to Afghanistan, the allegation, and I think there is some pretty clear evidence here, that Afghan soil is being used by militants to carry out attacks inside Pakistan, mainly in the northwest, but also perhaps to an extent in Balochistan as well.
Yeah, that's why Pakistan has carried out multiple strikes in Afghanistan, saying they're targeting Pakistani Taliban hideouts there. Do you see the tensions between the two countries escalating further as a result?
Yeah, I do, unfortunately. And that's mainly because there's been a series of talks between the Pakistanis and the Taliban regime in Afghanistan, talks that have been mediated by international actors, including China. But these talks have not ended the violence. And that's mainly because, it appears that Pakistan's main concern, its main grievance, that the Taliban is providing space for anti-Pakistan militants is not being addressed. And I would argue that given that Pakistan continues to carry out military strikes in Afghanistan, which have killed civilians on a number of occasions, it seems like Pakistan may not trust that diplomacy could even succeed in this effort. And this is unfortunate because it's always common Afghans and Pakistanis that lose out the most, particularly those that depend on free borders, going to the other side for work, for schooling, and so on. So it's really a very troubling situation.
Yeah, it sounds like a powder keg. How is all of this affecting stability in the region?
Well, Pakistan, it's got tense borders everywhere, right? Its border with India is very tense, especially since the two fought a brief war last year. The border with Afghanistan is very tense. And of course, with the conflict in Iran not quite done yet, Iran borders Pakistan as well. So Pakistan is in a pretty tough position right now where pretty much all of its borders are volatile to differing degrees, and this is a challenge for Pakistan, even as it grapples with this upsurge in terrorism and as it grapples with efforts to stabilize its economy. A lot of internal challenges for Pakistan to grapple with.
What needs to happen for Pakistan then to successfully handle this challenge, to get its militancy problem under control and to establish peaceful relations with the neighboring countries, if that is even possible?
Right. I mean, there's no one clear solution. These are very different challenges with different types of drivers. I would argue when it comes to Balochistan, where we've seen this rash of attacks over the last few days, I would argue that there's going to need to be an incentive for the Pakistani state to initiate some type of dialogue with the insurgents. But what we've seen with militancy rooted in Afghanistan, attacks perpetrated in northwest Pakistan, talks have not worked. So clearly Pakistan is going to have to come up with another solution. But, again, by resorting to these airstrikes in Afghanistan, which have invariably killed civilians, that's just made the situation all the more difficult. So, I would argue that, for the Pakistani civilian and military leadership, need to take different approaches to different problems. But, the fact of the matter is it's been several years now that we've seen an upsurge in these attacks inside Pakistan, not as serious as it was some years ago when you had even worse campaigns of violence. But I think Pakistan's going to need to figure out how it manages all these different challenges at the same time. With the economy, you also have political volatility. It's just a lot to grapple with, setting aside the issue of the security situation, which is indeed quite fraught.
Michael Kugelman of the Atlantic Council, we appreciate your time as always.
Thank you.